All right, today we're back with some more of the Dominion homework series, and this time we're talking about a few different combos with the landmark tower. Um, Towers gives you a point per non-victory card you have from an empty supply pile, and you can use this as a way to rush down ending games. So the first one we're going to look at is Talisman. Now Talisman needs some support. It needs at least other cards that cost 4 or less, but it helps to have non-victory cards that cost 4 or less, I should say. It helps to have particularly cheap cards or cheap cards with some kind of plus buy also. In this case, we don't have all of that, but useful cards to play too if draw helps. So if there was some kind of a draw card here as one of these cheaper cards, we could go for that. But as it is, we don't have much of that, and let's just get, let's say, amulets and masterpieces as our other stuff. So amulet at least helps a little bit. You can trash some stuff or whatever. And the basic goal here is you get as many talismans as possible first. To pile talismans, you pile a couple of other things. So here, I don't really want a silver because it's going to get in the way of my talisman. The amulet staying out is nice. We get a trash one and take one for money here. And okay, now the talismans are real low. So on the other hand, there's only one talisman in play, and usually I'm going to have more than that. So now we can start focusing down the next thing. Let's get the amulets next. And finally we can finish off with whatever the last thing is going to be. Obviously what you choose to pick may be dependent on what your opponent does in terms of emptying stuff out or whatever. And next turn, on turn 14, we get to finish this out. So this is like not a great case scenario, but it obviously has some support. And as you see, we get, oh, I trashed a masterpiece for no reason at some point. Typically you're going to get 30 points, and typically you're not necessarily going to trash your original stuff. 13 or 14 turns, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. But that's the talisman kind of thing. Like I said, there can be support for it, or sometimes, and there can not be support for it other times. Next, let's look at Beggar. Beggar, the point is to empty the coppers, and well, here it hurts that I'm playing a one-player game because there would be 7, and it hurts that I have the Haunted Mirror. Hold on, let's get one without a heirloom. Oh my goodness, twice in a row. The heirloom doesn't really matter that much. It's just a little bit less clean. So here you're trying to empty the coppers. There's typically going to be 46 if you're playing a 2-player game. You just try to empty it with beggars. So you get as many beggars as possible. You play as many beggars as possible. And you're going to empty the beggars and the coppers as fast as possible. And then at some moment, usually around here, you have to start thinking to yourself, okay, so now there would be 7 fewer coppers. You think to yourself, there's 31 coppers left. It's going to take 10 beggar plays. I have 8 beggars in my deck now. At some point, you can start 10 beggar plays plus buying 1 copper, right? Or it can be 9 beggar plays plus buying 4 coppers, which is going to be a little bit faster. Or even 8 beggar plays plus buying 7 coppers, which isn't really going to be faster because there's two more beggars to get, at least in the non-mirror. So based on the count, you do a little bit of math to figure out, should I be buying beggar or should I be buying copper? But eventually you do buy copper to help get yourself there faster. And this is actually pretty good luck. Okay, so one more beggar play. And you see around turn 18 here. It's not that fast, which is why this one can be a little bit suspect. Here there would be none left in a two-player game. So it would be turn 18. We've emptied the beggars. We've emptied the coppers. And so we would have 56 points more than our opponent. We actually have 7 more points than that from the coppers. But, you know, they have their 7 coppers too. If they've trashed their coppers, you outscore a little more. I don't actually think this is that strong, but obviously they need to actually empty all of the provinces before now if they're going to beat you. On the other hand, I actually think this is the weakest of these because emptying the provinces by turn 18 is not really that hard, and this isn't really that atypical luck. In fact, we only missed playing beggar a couple turns, and you're not going to be able to hit it every turn. So anyway, that's that. Let's go ahead and finish this game out. This doesn't have any finishing power, but obviously it scores so much that I guess I'm going to try to empty estates because that's the safest option, especially after the beggars don't do anything anymore because the coppers are gone. Let's just end this game. And then we'll go to the last tower combo, which I want to talk about today. Maybe there's others, but this is the last one I want to talk about today, which is Masterpiece, which also combos with Guildhall, so you'd want to look at that. I wonder if Talisman combos with Guildhall. Anyway, but here we're looking at Masterpiece Tower, so you just open silver, silver, and then if you have less than 5, you just buy silver. This is, oh my gosh, a very bad draw, obviously, to not hit 5. Once you start hitting more than 5, you just overpay as much as possible. And you're going to empty the masterpieces. You're also going to empty the silvers. You're going to empty the silvers first in this case. So here I've emptied the silvers on turn 13. This wasn't with particularly good draws. And that gives me 30 points. And then when I buy this masterpiece, that gives me 10 more points. So turn 14, I've scored, 40 points on top of where I started, which is not quite enough to just win the game, obviously. 8 provinces is more than that, but you're also in a position where you can say, okay, well, but I can also start buying some provinces and some duchies. And actually hitting 6 and 7 a lot is a little bit unlucky there, but not tons. So as you can see, hitting 8 and more. Obviously, you need to modulate should you go for provinces first or not, depending on what the game looks like, because you don't want to end up with the game ending before you've emptied the silvers, and to a lesser extent before you've emptied the masterpieces. But that's obviously much faster to empty this pile, and it's still scoring a lot of points, and you end up with a much better deck than the beggar. So the masterpiece combo is definitely better than the beggar one, and the talisman one, it depends on what your other options for cards to get are. So that's 3 tower combos that you might want to look out for in your games. So it's a good thing that you've done your homework. This is Wandering Winter saying until next time.